Hey, Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Peace and salutation to the Akim and unto the elect that scattered across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and facing sincerity. All right, today the Spirit had it to where I was reading up on Abraham, and I just decided to do a video on it. Because the faith of Abraham, it amazed me. Alright? So, I couldn't I couldn't contain it. So, I had to make a video on it. So, I'm just going to get right into it. Because, this is Genesis 16. For starting in 1. It says, now Sarah, which is Sarah, Abram's wife bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, behold now, Yahweh had restrained me from bearing. Alright, so her womb was closed. The Most High, whose true name is Yahweh, alright, he closed her womb. She couldn't get pregnant. So basically, she got a handmaid to try to, give her a child. It says, I pray thee, go in unto my maid, it may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. So she wanted to have kids, but she couldn't. So she tried to do it through the handmaid, which was Hagar, whom was born Ishmael, Ishmael's mother. Okay. So, like I said, according to the scripture, Sarah, she was barren. She couldn't have no kids. So the next scripture I'm going to get is Genesis 17. And I'm just trying to get some history real quick before I just hit my point. This is Genesis 17 and 1. It says, and when Abram was 90 years old and 9, Yahweh appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the almighty power. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face. And the Most High talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. So the Most High is telling them that his covenant is going to be with him, and he's going to be a father of many nations. I was just talking about the Israelites. It says, neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. And that's what Abraham means, a father of many nations. That's what happened, like in the scriptures, when somebody gets their name, it means something. It's really a omen, basically, name prediction. It says, I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. Just remember, Abraham is it said he was 99 years old. Just remember that. And the same thing I just read, he told Sarah also the same thing. This is Genesis 17 and 15. It says, and the Most High said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. And Abram fell on his face and laughed and said in his heart, which means mind. We said the word heart, and the Hebrew word is lob. It means mind. It says, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, that is 90 years old, bear? So, he thinking in his head, man, look, this is impossible. I'm old. And if that was you, you'd be thinking the same thing. You up in age like that. you'd have been thinking like, man, there ain't no way that this body, you know, could produce some sperm, you know, and have kids. All right. You know, he thought that it was impossible. So it's gonna bring me. No, actually, I keep reading. It says, in Abraham said unto the Most High, "Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee." Oh, and going back to the 17th verse, when it says that Abraham laughed, Sarah also laughed before too when she heard of that. All right, because they both was thinking like, man, it's over with for us. We ain't having no more kids. All right. In verse 19 it says, and the Most High said, so Sarah, thy wife, shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. All right, so the covenant went from Abraham to Isaac. All right, and it says unto Isaac's seed after him. And let's see what it says about Ishmael. It says, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him and will make him fruitful. And I will, it says, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac. All right, so the covenant was going to be established with Isaac. All right, the Most High was really dealing with Isaac. All right, he was chosen. All right, he received the promise. You know, everything going to go through him. Now going to Genesis 21 and 9, it says, and Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking. All right, we should talk about Ishmael. It says, wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And the Most High said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad and because of thy bondwoman. And all that Sarah has said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. All right, that's the point. That Isaac was that seed going to be called. All right, he was saying, man, look, listen to Sarah. All right. Because, you know, just in Genesis 17, it says a father of many nations that he was going to make him, and he was going to establish a covenant with him and his seed. All right, which he was just talking about Isaac. All right, so he's telling him all that's going to happen to him. All right, now let's just go to the 22nd. Genesis 22nd, or 22 and 1. And it says, and it came to pass after these things that the Most High did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here am I. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest. Yeah, because Ishmael got cast off. All right, basically. It says, and he said, take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains, which I will tell thee of. So the Most High told Abraham to sacrifice his son, Isaac, whom he promised unto him that he will have. And Isaac, that his seed will be called, and he will establish his covenant with Isaac. Now he's telling him to sacrifice him. All right. Now imagine what was going through Abraham's head. Now what would be going through your mind if the Most High came to you and told you to sacrifice your son? Just keep reading on and see what happens. It says, and Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which the Most High had told him. Then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you. And Abram took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and the knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? So Isaac was like, we got everything for this offering, or for this sacrifice, except the animal. What a lamb at, Dad, Abba? And he says, and Abraham said, My son, the Most High will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went, both of them together. He said, the Most High going to provide it. It says, and they came to the place which the Most High had told them of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son. He tied him up. All right, because you go into this word bound, it says to tie. All right. It says I quad. Seems to bind, to tie. And laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. Man, you know how hard this had to, how hard that had to be to attempt to kill your son, your seed, because the Most High told you to do it. He didn't disobey. So as soon as the Most High told him to do this, he just started setting up everything, man. He went to the place to sacrifice his son. He didn't tell the Most High, man, hell no, I'm not doing this. I love my son. All right, but it's a reason why Abraham did it. It says that, and Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of Yahweh called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest the Most High, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. So this was a test on whether to see if Abraham feared the Most High. And he did, because he did exactly what the Most High told him to do. All right, he obeyed. All right. I know the scripture that says it's better to obey than to give a sacrifice. But, the point is, he obeyed. He did what he was instructed to do. The son that he was waiting for. All right, the son that the Most High promised unto him. And him and Sarah laughed. All right, because, at that time, they couldn't see that. They were up there in age, all right? Like, we ain't having no kids. All right, well, this is going to take me to Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11:11. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. All right, the Most High promised this, so this is going to happen. All right, have that faith. It says, therefore sprang there even of one, all right, which is talking about Abraham. It says, therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead. Because it said Abraham, all right, he was 99 years old, So he was old. All right. If his flesh wasn't, supposed to be able to make that seed, all right, to make children, all right. But like the scriptures say, nothing ain't impossible with the Most High. All right. So Abraham was old. It says, therefore sprang there even the one, and as him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky and the multitude. And that it says, so many as the stars of the sky and the multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore, innumerable. All right. Abraham was made a father of many nations, and he believed that. All right, you jump down to verse 17. It says, by faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac. And he that received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And Abraham believed that. But why did he continue with this sacrifice, though? On trying to sacrifice his son? It says, verse 19, accounting that the Most High was able to raise him up, even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. So he was like, man, the Most High told me this. He told me he was going to give the covenant, establish my covenant with Isaac. He told me that to Isaac, my seed was going to be called. He must, man, look, I'm finna do this. The Most High going to raise him up from the dead, because the Most High, he promised this unto me. All right? Man, that's faith, bro. That is faith right there, bro. He said, man, the Most High is going to raise my son up from the dead. He had faith that the Most High was going to do that. Man, we all got to pray with faith like that, bro. Because man, that would have been hard, bro. Man. He's like, man, the Most High is going to raise my son up from the dead. This is going to take me to my last couple of scriptures. Romans. Well, really, Hebrews. Let me read Hebrews 11:1. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Believing into something that you don't currently have, you don't see it, but you know it's going to come. All right, that's what faith is. And that's what Abraham had. All right. Hebrews 11:6 says, but without faith it is impossible to please him. You cannot please the Most High without faith. You got to believe, bro. The Most High tells you that this is going to happen. That is going to happen. You got to believe that. It said, but without faith it's impossible to please him. For he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Believe that the Most High will come through on his word. All right. This is Romans 4:17. It says, as it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations. Before him whom he believed, even the Most High, who quickeneth the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were, who against hope believed in hope. Abraham, he says, who against hope believed in hope. All right, like, cause if you wasn't thinking like spiritually, all right, you didn't have that faith, man, you'd have been like, man, look, I'm not finna have no kids whatsoever. You know, I'm too old. I'm 99. This ain't happening. You know, it's just not finna be. All right. And if you would have asked anyone else, if you would have told anyone else that Abraham was gonna have a son, they would have said the same exact thing. Like, man, no, this dude old. Ain't no kids coming from him. All right, but it says that who against hope believed in hope. So he still believed, even though he himself kind of thought that he wasn't even going to have any kids. He believed the Most High for what he said, against all of that bullshit, against all of that doubt. His belief in the Most High was and what the Most High has promised unto him was greater than all that. He's like, man, I ain't even, bro, he not even worried about all that. The Most High, Yahweh promised to me that I'm going to have a son. That's exactly what I'm going to have. All right. He said, who against hope believes in hope, that he might become the father of many nations, according to that which was spoken. So shall thy seed be. And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He said he considered not his own body now dead, neither the deadness of Sarah's womb. I said he wasn't thinking about him not being, he wasn't thinking about him being up in age and not being able to make kids, or Sarah being able to have these kids. He wouldn't let, but he was not letting that shake his faith. All right. And he wasn't even worried about none of that. It said he staggered not at the promise of the Most High through unbelief. He believed in the Most High wholeheartedly, fully persuaded. It said, but was strong in faith, giving glory to the Most High, and being fully persuaded that what he had promised he was able also to perform, and therefore it was imputed to him for righteousness. Man, that's great faith, bro. It seemed impossible, for Abraham to have a son up in that age. But just because the Most High said that it's going to happen, he believed against the fact that it was impossible. All right, he didn't let that stop him from believing that it was going to happen, because Yahweh said that it was going to happen. Man, that's faith, bro. And that's really it, man. We give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. We give honor to the apostles and others of great millstone. Peace and salutation to the Akim, to the elect, scattered across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth, facing sincerity, and risking their lives to do so. Shalom, Akim.